Hi friends, good morning. Welcome to Akshadari. I'm Devraj. I hope you guys are enjoying the weekend. Today is Saturday, 2nd September, and I hope you guys are learning English very well and also following the tips which I have given in the previous videos. And before going to start today's session, today newspaper reading, I would request you guys to please subscribe the channel, like and comment so that I can bring very informative videos in the upcoming days. And also, don't forget to share the video if you like the video, and also at least follow the tips which I have given in the previous videos. Also, read the newspaper at least minimum 2 hours to make yourself better in the communication. In the next 30 days, I'm sure you will be very good in communication. So let's start today newspaper reading. Yes, guys, let's start reading the newspaper. So, at least go through as per your addition as per your location. So let's start. Let's see what's in the front page of the newspaper. Pension withdrawal norms to be eased. Coffers swell. Cities saw this year's wettest day on August 31st. Jet Airways founder Naresh Goyal arrested. Walls of Hope, Tales of Despair in Coaching Hub. Multiple pressures take a toll on mental health. Rohit's India takes on Babur's Pakistan. HC sets aside prejudice election. India bloc resolves to hold seat sharing talks. Government panel to study simultaneous force to LS state assemblies. The Union government on Friday said that a committee has been formed under the headship of former President of India Ramnath Kovind to look into the feasibility of simultaneous elections to state assemblies and the Lok Sabha. Union Minister for Parliamentary Affairs Prahlad Joshi declared that the committee has been constituted and that one needed to avoid its reports for any further news on the issue. While Mr. Joshi declared that the committee had been constituted, no official notification had been forthcoming from the government till late evening. No information was available on the other members of the committee or the terms of reference that they would be operating under rights right after news broke of the information of such a committee. BJP President JP Nadda called on Mr. Kovind at his residence in New Delhi. Right now, a committee has been constituted. A report of the committee will come out, which will discuss its prospects. It will be discussed in public domain, and when it will come in parliament, there will be discussion there too, Mr. Joshi said. Venubaka Gopal Kasturi elected a chairman of Kasturi and Sons Limited. Load testing conducted on Kengeri Chillagatta stretch. Chief Minister Siddaramaiah recently announced that the stretch would be inaugurated this month. KJ George to answer your questions on power on September 4th. Hundredth CNG station inaugurated. Home 3 Pristan. Real estate's GDP boost. India is expected to become the third largest construction market, says Sanjay Dutt. Corrupt practices during polls. HC declares Prajwal selection from Asan null and void. He is the only JDS member in the Lok Sabha of A. Manju to declare him as a retired candidate in place of Prajwal rejected. High Court notice to Revanda and Suraj. State sets a defense exports target of 25k crore by 2025. Shalini Rajani is additional chief secretary to government. RDPR department to map all water sources to tackle drought. Kaveri Ro Karnataka will place ground reality before CWMA but wouldn't approach SC now, says DKS. K Chaya city to come up on 2000 acres on Bengaluru outskirts. PCB post government told to hold notification in abeyance. Karnataka in fifth place in Akaput investments. India's first solar observatory mission to be launched today. Aditya L1 mission payloads help to understand the problem of coronal mass ejection, flare activities, the dynamics of space weather, and the propagation of particles and fields. European agency to support Aditya L1. ASA provides support from its 35-meter deep space antennas over Australia, Spain, and Argentina. Three accused acquitted in Kanu bomb blast case. Amravati R5 June. SC refuses to stay at the order. China's economic slowdown, it's a ripple effect. Let's go read this editorial page. Very important for the point of examination. The news about China's economic slowdown has caused mixed reactions. China for long had been worried about fears of a slowdown and a middle income trap. Now there are fears of depletion which may bring bad news for China and the rest of the world. Thus, understanding the causes and the magnitude of China's present day economic challenges is essential. Speaking at the National People's Congress in 2007, then Premier Wen Jiabao had cautioned that the biggest problem with China's economy is that the growth is unstable, unbalanced, uncoordinated, and unsustainable. It was expected that some form of course correction would be undertaken in the subsequent period. However, as the world experienced the global financial meltdown in 2008, China chose the strategy of investing in infrastructure that included railways, highways, and the energy and the construction sectors. It had swept the core problems of a lack of consumption, regional inequality, and lack of social security and the corporate in order to sustain double-digit growth rate. Why it did was simple. The domestic legitimacy of the leadership in China has a deep depended on creating prosperity and making it available to a greater number of citizens year on year. However, by the time Xi Jinping came to power, the steroids had run their course and the mean and the Wien period was worse up. Chinese financial markets suffered from lack of regulatory oversight since loans to business were distributed on the basis of proximity. The famous Chinese terms Yuanxi are the national nodal networks based on factions, friendships, and relationships. In a new normal, the ground realities. When Mr. Z says that the China is the world's second largest economy, he is right, and he is also right when he says that China is the world's largest developing country. During the 19th Party Congress of the Chinese Communist Party in 2017, Mr. Xi announced that from here on, the party would focus on quality of life issues as part of its growth strategy. Within this announcement, there was a recognition that people's expectations of the state had changed, but there was also an acceptance that the era of growth driven by exports, infrastructure spending, and big ticket investments was over. China termed this an era of new normal, where the country had to overcome the 2.5 decade long habit of enjoying more than 10% growth. The growth had translated into more jobs and greater disposable income. Now, with lower than usual rates, now new jobs were hard to come by. China continues to hire a significant number of the working age population as each new batch graduates. That is why unemployment numbers are soaring. It is also why the government is advising students to delay their graduation and to do extra courses. During the first term of Mr. Z, exports rates had cooled dramatically. It meant that China's labor costs were rising due to wage increase and social security investments. This was the consequence of the Foxconn suicide issue, which was seen as a political embarrassment and a social change. On the other hand, bad investments and easy credit availability have meant that sectors such as housing, energy, and construction have got into the bad habit of overproducing far behind the immediate projected demand. As a consequence, these sectors have been stuck with inventory without any demand. This has happened despite the early success of the supply side reforms, which shut down many underperforming companies and regulated the commodities markets. A political choice. No other country has much a political economy as China does. China's ability to overcome its economic challenges today also has to be a political choice. In December 2020, Mr. Xi used the terms disorderly expansion of capital. While this term was not elaborated upon much either by Mr. Xi or by others, its timing of having appeared within a few weeks of the withdrawal of the Ant Group IPO was seen to be significant. Most scholars of China have doubted the Chinese economy's ability to be truly innovative, while the party wants to control what the capitalists can and cannot do, having made the promise of allowing the markets play a greater role in the allocation of resources during the third plenum of the 18th Central Committee in 2013. Mr. Z has rolled back many of the promises and made them. It was hoped that political interventions in loans and investment decisions would reduce. The government did intervene when the stock markets tumbled in 2015, forcing banks to acquire stakes in slow moving stocks. It has tightened the convertibility of the RMB. The Chinese, who save more than 50% of the income, did not like that their money was going to be locked in longer because of speculation by a few others, leading to a few protests. China has initiated several social security measures to counter this tendency of saving a huge proportion of income, but progress has been really slow. Also, policies such as common prosperity aimed at sharing the fruits of the progress better, and dual circulation aimed at increasing domestic consumption and competitiveness of the domestic markets and cutting down provincial red tape have not succeeded to the level the leadership would have liked. There is a perception that China's serious slowdown began in 2015 but was held in control by government spending on projects such as urbanization, the trade war between the United States and China, and policies such as de-risking and China Plus One that seeks alternate production destinations for investments accelerated the process. Finally, China's zero COVID policy may be considered as the first straw as far as the economy is considered concerned. Recent data from the second quarter of the year suggested that people and companies have become even more cash conscious and are holding on to their cash. It has been harder to come out of the COVID-19 experience. Food supplies ran out even in the urban areas in some parts of the country. For investors, there is a fear of an even biggest slump, thus making them wait for new bottom out levels. On state enterprises, the state owned enterprises are the SOEs, have been another problem for the political leadership. Their assured contracts and political networks mean that they get away by political bargain and without changing their methods of operation. They also provide social security to several hundred thousand working and retired workers, which means that touching them is a political sensitive issue. The Evergrande crisis 2022-2023 exposed China's housing bubble. It was also a symptom of misregulation and path dependency, which may be considered as symptomatic of the ills that affect the Chinese economy in general. The fact that path dependency may cause a crash landing has been feared for nearly a decade, and the alliance leadership is also aware of it. The middle income trap has been another long term concern, as well as China's desire to climb up the value chain. That is, not just making things in China but also designing them. Maybe a distant dream. It may also affect Mr. Zi's national target for 2035 and 2049. Even then, China's economy growing at an estimated rate of 5% would mean adding more value when compared to India's projected growth rate of 6.1% for 2023, given the size difference. For India, it may mean a cooling off of the prices of crude oil and other commodities such as cement and steel, for which China has been a gigantic market. Whether economic instability would China change China's perception of its rise and its risk appetite on the border is another important issue to watch. The many phases of Islamophobia. A video clip of an incident that happened in a Kubapur village in Muzaffarnagar, Uttar Pradesh, where a Muslim boy was slapped by his classmate on the instruction of their teacher is Islamophobia. In this case, the victim and the perpetrator belong to the Tyagi clan. Despite hailing from different religions, they share a cultural bond. Their neighborhood was not directly affected but during the Muzaffarnagar riots in UP in 2013, and as an established history of the social harmony between the Hindu Tyagis and the Muslim Tyagis. This is why reconciliation could happen so swiftly. It also highlights the roots of the indigenous Indian Islam. Yet Islamophobia has reared its ugly head and left the sacred trust between teacher and student broken. This is how much India has changed. Concepts and explanations. Islamophobia is a global phenomenon, but the sources and issues from which it emanates vary from a region to region. What is being witnessed in India is quite different from what is seen in the West. In India, Islamophobia, communalism, and intolerance are some of the key concepts used to explain the troubled Hindu-Muslim relations. Of the three, the use of the notion of communalism has disproportionately dominated scholarly works, particularly during the 20th century. In a Rawlsian sense, each is a freestanding concept but possesses overlapping attributes. It is only by unraveling these attributes that the threat that Islamophobia poses to India's secular social order can be understood. With its pejorative connotation, the concept of communalism is applied exclusively in a South Asian context. The concepts of Islamophobia and intolerance are universal in usage. How does the Indian brand of Islamophobia vary from the Western one? For instance, lynching in India is a violent expression of Islamophobia that occurs mainly due to the cow slaughter issue. Given the rising number of Muslim victims from cow vigilantism, it needs to be seen as Islamophobia by other means. But in Europe and the United States, cow slaughter is neither the source nor the issue of Islamophobia. And the masjid related issue, there are interesting comparative insights that can be drawn. In 2009, a Swiss federal referendum to ban minarets on masjids was passed, and its Ejerkingen committee campaign posters displays minarets as being reminiscent of missiles. A new act controversy regarding Ground Zero mosques were driven by Islamophobic arguments. It was argued, among other things, that it would mean disrespecting the victims of 9 by 11, as if entire Islam is responsible for the violence committed by a handful of the disoriented Muslims. In India, there are major disputes such as the Babri Masjid issue or the ongoing Ganwapi Masjid issue in Varanasi in Uttar Pradesh, but they are more related to a power struggle that pertains to Muslim rulers and the consequences of their actions. Indian Muslims do face the impact of these disputes, but Islamophobia is not purely derived from architecture or structures as is the case in Europe. It may change in the days ahead. Issues is in Muslims and Islam. There is Islamophobia reflected in the use of loudspeakers during Adhan. In India, a country where there is a constant automobile honking and other forms of major noise pollution in many of its towns and cities. It is absurd to argue that the use of loudspeakers is for Adhan for a few minutes causes intolerable noise pollution, and that it calls for a law. There were controversies over this issue in Uttar Pradesh and Maharashtra. More than 11,000 loudspeaker speakers were removed from all religious places, both Hindu and Muslim. In 2022, in Uttar Pradesh, likewise, the wheel has been an Islamophobic issue in Europe. It is the job controversy in Karnataka. There seems to be a growing list of common issues that drive Islamophobia in India and Europe. But everything concerning Muslims cannot viewed as Islamophobia either. Some issues concern Muslims but not Islam. For instance, the Hindu rights argument against Hindu Urdu has a language of Muslims, which it is not. Muslims across the world speak a variety of languages based on a number of factors. In that sense, Urdu has a very limited relationship with the Muslim identity. It was the gross arrogance of the erstwhile West Pakistani Muslim allied by bullying the Bengali Muslims of then East Pakistan to embrace Urdu that fueled Bengali nationalism. Therefore, the Hindu rights attempt to resist Urdu or see it as a language of Muslims could be explained more accurately as Muslimphobia than Islamophobia. As a part of state policy, in the wake up of the growth of Islamophobia in India, Hindutva politics and V.D. Savarkar's Essentials of Hindutva, published almost at the end of the Khilafat movement, have played a major role. According to Savarkar, Indian Muslims cannot be completely loyal to India because Mecca and Medina are located outside India. It is Savarkar's most troubling Islamophobic reasoning, but foot soldiers such as Monu Manesar or Babu Bajrangi might not have any idea what Savarkar's Hindutva says. Islamophobia in India existed long before Savarkar wrote his tract. Indeed, there were riots resulting from cow slaughter in the latter part of the 19th century, just as Hindi received equal status with Urdu in 1900 because of the debate between Hindu and Muslim allies. During the Great Kanpur Revolt in 1931, 18 mosques were razed. What is the difference then between present-day Islamophobia inspired by Hindutva and during colonial India? Or even before, the difference is that the Savarkar's Hindutva has inspired a new political class in India that wishes to weaponize Islamophobia and make it a part of a state policy. The state responses on a John or a ban on cow slaughter are a result of this. This is what poses a mortal threat to the secular fabric of the Indian state and its society at large. This is about the Islamophobia. Let's go to the next page. Ground Zero, Kothas, crash course. Thousands of students throng the coaching centers of the city every year in the OPUP, securing a better future. To stay focused on studies, they rarely poach friendships are wind down, and this taken a severe toll on their mental health. Mehlu Malpani visits the centers and asks where students oscillate between hope and despair. I have got students whose parents have told them not to come home without getting selected. On Sundays, I study more, even more. I have missed many family functions because one of my teachers shows scolded his classmate for going home for our sister's wedding. The speed of deaths. India bloc resolves to hold a seat bloc sharing talks. Ensure supply of medicine put in Manipur direct cessing. It suggests even hair dropping essential items in areas affected by ethnic violence after Justice Mittal committee says that the situation might turn dire with supplies dwindling due to road blockades. 8 killed, 29 others injured in Manipur since August 29. Scientist who fought on BJP ticket quits party to head AASC. Ex-MP gets life imprisonment in double murder case. Supreme Court on Friday sentenced former Lok Sabha member from Bihar Prabhunath Singh to life imprisonment in a 20-year-old double murder case. Wow. A three-judge special bench of Justices Sanjay Kishal Kaule, IAS Okha and Vikram Nath had taken the rare step on August 18 to set aside two lower court decisions and find Singh guilty of the murders. Hearing arguments on the sentencing part of the Friday, Justice Kaul observed that there were only two punishment options: life sentence or death penalty. Before the former MP, senior advocate A.M. Singhvi for Singh highlighted that the two lower courts had found his client innocent after going through the evidence there threadbare. The presumptions of innocence of Singh was high. Photo scam 36 accused to get 4 year prison term. NPS withdrawal options said to be used, says PFRD. Rattled by India, BJP is exploring simultaneous polls, says opposition. One nation, one election poses a threat to the federal structure of the country, parties say, adding that they are ready for an early election. Congress leaders not says approval of states is needed. India blocks success will depend on how it unravels illusions about Modi. Rahul. Be prepared for more raids, arrest, says Karge. Here is some job notifications. 7 years on mission to clean the Ganga remains a work in progress. Treatment plants capable of treating just 20% of the sewage spewing into that river set up for so far. NMCG hopes to increase this to 33% by 2024 and 6% by 2026. Since center says it will only build capacity of for 7,000 MLD. States must set up the rest. NCERT given deemed to be a university tag, says Pradhan. Indian Navy's steel stealth frigate Mandragiri launched. Actor Madhavan to head film and television institute of India. Children from avoid marriages and entitled to parents share in property. Some countries are trying to hijack G20 agenda, says Russia. 21-year-old BTech student found dead at IIT Delhi. SC expresses her reservations about Navalka's house arrest. Greatness of Bhagavatam. August GST revenue rises to 3-month low of 1.59 lakh crore. Gross GST revenue grows 10.7%. Why has taxes from goods imports rebound after 2 months of contraction? Import tax takings rise a marginal 3%. Still, revenue is 3.6% lower than July 1.65 lakh crore. Buoyant collections will help GST Council lower tax rates. Royal Enfield rolls out a 2023 Bullet 350cc at 1.75 lakh. Reliance Retail said to be in talks to raise 2.5 billion. Moody's raises India's CY23 growth forecast to 6.7% from 5.5%. Factory activity rises to near a 3-year high. US job growth picks up in August. Wage gains slow. Auto Farms wholesales rose in August ahead of festive season. PSB Alliance fix VPIN for supply chain financing. CCI approves Vistara's merger with Air India, export promotion body to unveil this dashboard to technical textiles. Ex-Deputy PM Shanmugaratnam elected Singapore president. Sri Lanka ends fuel rationing imposed during economic crisis. In a retaliatory move, Denmark wants Russia to limit embassy stuff. Israeli forces kill a Palestinian man in raid on occupied West Bank. Thailand king reduces former PM Thaksin's prison term to 1 year. Attack on Russian airport launched from inside Russia. Putin to host Erdogan amid bid to revive Grand Grain deal. 4 soldiers killed, 3 injured in fresh clashes between Armenia and Azerbaijan. Nepal rejects China's map, asks neighbors to respect boundaries set by its parliament. Savitha and Co. seek to hand Indian women's long wait for an Asian Games gold medal. Unstoppable Divya storms into the sole lead. Exercise caution against Shaheen Halyan, Hyde and to Rohit. Familiarity breeds confidence for Babas meant for India contest. Martian shot power Australia to unassailable G20 leading series. Base 200 Brook make Murray as England files up 998. High voltage India Pakistan class are set to produce fireworks. Skipper Rohit will hope that the Shreyas and Bumrah are back to big time cricket after a prolonged injury layoff will find form right away. Rohit keen to get back to low risk batting approach. Had spoken to Virat Kohli during the 2019 World Cup and that helped me a lot. Having a mutual understanding from across the world helps a lot. Swiatek demolishes best friend Juwan Alcaraz also for an anchor with Sinner. Battle sickness en route to world title says Neeraj. Indian Railways will be the team to beat. The former champion will have an upper hand against PNB. Science rises rising star former from Man City. Birthday boy Sanja positive in a second Manja practice. Pranat takes the top honors in the feature event. Sports Minister Anurag Thakur facilitates GM Pragnananda. Shock career required Churchson, the spiky queen of spikes. I'm glad I can display who I really am. Not my pain, not my sadness. I'm happy I can sit here and be happy, but just knowing that it is all paid off. Weekend sport after making history, Avani shoots for the stars. The 16-year-old goalpost became the first Indian to triumph on the LET Access Series months after claiming the prestigious Queen's Circuit Cup. Our immediate focus is the Asian Games following, which she will set her sights on making the Ladies European Tour and the LPGA. I'm feeling very positive with the Asian Games coming up. We have the best team. I also have my eyes on the individual event. I want gold in both events. Which I would like to do what Tiger Woods did. I want to inspire a whole new generation of golfers. I want the angles to pick up the sport. The image of a golf is that it is an old man's sport, but this is not true. This is the last page, guys. Today on every Saturday, there is no text and context page. At least read for 2 hours to improve our communication. So please subscribe the channel, like and comment, and see you in the upcoming videos. Have a great day. Bye bye. Take care.